Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Heroes of the Storm Chair League. And with me, as always, is my co-caster, New Type. How you doing, New Type?
I'm doing great, Synth. And what a show we've got planned here tonight. We've got the semifinals of the pro division of the Chair League. The very top shelf players for the amateur scene, the cream of the crop. And we're going to find out who gets to throw down with Brawls Deep tomorrow in the Chair League finals. We have playing tonight New Kids on the Block and Resting Butcherface, a pair of teams very, I don't know how to describe it. They've absolutely torn up the competition on their way through the playoff brackets here.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. So we have a team who is 3-0 in the season, and then how did New Kids on the Block do during the playoffs here?
New Kids on the Block did not drop a map, carving through Team Blaze and Gamma Squad 2-0. Gamma Squad did not show up for their match, so it was ruled as a disqualification. But I mean, they're officially 4 maps up in the playoffs right now, running really smart drafts against Team Blaze. Targeting specific heroes, running really lean comps with strong reliance on a couple of key role players on their team. Solid stuff from them. If you haven't had a chance, that match from Team Blaze was casted by our very own Akuma and is available on Twitch here. If you want to go back and watch the VODs, if New Kids does end up being the victors here tonight. But, standing in their way is Resting Butcherface, a team not to be trifled with, as they've got quite the body count behind them as well, beating Blame Game and Bumbling Bees 2-0 over the last 2 weeks here, featuring an absolutely brutal support choke on Sky Temple versus Blame Game. I think the draft involved either 5 or 6 supports, either being banned or picked between the two teams.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, Nate.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get in contact with the teams here, making sure that they're here. We will tell you about the games tonight as much as we know whenever we learn any information from them. So right now we're going to wait for Resting Butcherface to get back to me and pick tonight's first map. This is going to be a best of 3. And what do you think? Are we going to see Infernal Shrines tonight?
Oh boy, this is tough. This is tough. If my notes are correct here, neither team played Infernal Shrines in the last round here. I did not see anything from. I have to check Bumbling Bees versus Resting Butcherface again, but we saw teams willing to do some pretty strange map picks and very strange drafts. We saw Brax's Holdout get played. We saw a 2 Warrior, 2 Support, 1 Assassin pick from Resting Butcherface in that aforementioned Sky Temple match. So it's got potential to get interesting here tonight. One thing worth noting, as when we start getting into the drafts here, is a key reliance on a handful of heroes exhibited in the most recent drafts from both teams. Now, that pattern may not continue tonight, but at the very least, there's going to be some contention over which team gets these specific heroes. As I said, I don't want to spoil the surprise. We'll get into that once the draft gets started. But as is tradition here on Synth Stream, we have to pour one out for our match tonight. And
Absolutely.
For those of you who were here with us at the very beginning of the season, you'll remember I cracked open a Macallan 12-year single malt Scotch whiskey. And over the course of the whole season, we made it down to the bottom of the bottle. And this is the end of the Macallan for this season. So cheers. Pour one out for all those teams that didn't make it, but we'll see them next season, hopefully, and get a chance to watch them. So So, cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. I have have the last of my pumpkin stuff. So.
Oh my God, you and your disgusting pumpkin stuff.
Hey, this is the Travelers. This is the Jacko Travelers.
Oh,
it's good.
Man. Oy.
Well, you know, it's tis the season. Looks like we're gonna have ourselves a game shortly here. I'm gonna go ahead and get us started here in a moment once we get all the information here.
So, what's on the menu, brother? Do we have a map pick yet?
Not momentarily.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, Brax's Holdout is going to be...
It's going to be Brax's Holdout. Ooh, okay. So, New Kids on the Block is our home team. So, if I'm not mistaken, Resting Butcherface is going to be the one picking that map. Am I correct?
Yes, Resting Butcherface picked the map.
That's gutsy.
Yeah.
It was New Kids on the Block who did play Brax's Holdout last week against Team Blaze. And like I said, they won that. It was a close matchup, but they did end up winning it with a pretty rough and tumble composition. I think it was 2 supports, a Johanna and a Vala running the 4-man. Very damage light composition that still ended up securing the kills that were necessary, getting the win that was necessary on that map. So we'll have to see if Resting Butcherface has done their homework and are ready for the game that New Kids on the Block is able to provide on that map. They definitely know that map.
Yep, and we're just getting the lobby set up here, and we'll get you guys into the draft momentarily here. And for those of you, we know what we're doing here. For those of you joining us fresh at the top of the hour here, we are casting New Kids on the Block versus Resting Butcherface for the semifinals of Chair League Playoff Season 3. I swear I have this stuff in my head somewhere. And if you don't forget to follow me on Twitch, Synth Paradox, Twitter, Synth Paradox, new type. Yeah.
I'm out there somewhere. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
But yeah, members, looks like the lobby's starting to fill up bit by bit here with members from New Kids on the Block. They're a relatively new team. They only had, I believe it was 3 games to prove themselves in the pro division during the regular season, and they did so with flying colors. Yeah, they really dominated during the weeks that they were able to play. And their main tank Ishbu only joined the team on the 10th, so he's really a new addition, or they're really a new addition to the team, and have been cracking skulls over the last couple of weeks. Getting, like I said, securing that really, really, really strong win against Team Blaze.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about Brax's Holdout. Any new strategies developed since? Since last time we saw this map.
It's one of those maps where you have to juggle a lot of priorities. You have to have a competent solo laner. You have to have adequate wave clear. You have to have sustain to stay in that bot lane 4-man scrap. And you have to have wave clear in case you do end up losing the Zerg wave. So you have to cover a lot of bases or gamble. Like, okay, we can skimp a little bit on wave clear, but we have to win the objective. Or we can skip a little bit on sustain, but we have to kill that Zerg wave. Or, there's a lot of bases that teams have to scramble to cover in this map, and it can prove to be, very difficult. If you get pinched in a draft on this map, you get absolutely bowled over by, opposing teams.
Yeah, so we got ourselves a full lobby at this point, so we're going to get our draft links out. And yeah, we're going to get ourselves a game here momentarily.
Looks good.
Let me just get the captain's links out, and we will be switching us over. I'm going to go ahead and transition us over to the other overlay as well. And
So I've been, as I mentioned, I've been hiding this, and now I'm going to bring it up. So in their games last week, both teams had almost identical drafts for a couple of their matches. Both teams utilized Muradin extensively. Both teams utilized Oriole extensively. Both teams ran double support compositions occasionally, and both teams prioritized Lunara and Vala for their ranged damage dealer. So, this brings us to the question of, how deep are these players' hero pools, and how willing are they to part with these preferred choices in this draft? New Kids on the Block is our home team, so they will get the first ban and the first pick. And the question is, do they move to secure Muradin? Do they move to secure Ariel? How early are they going to prioritize these comfort picks that they've had so much success with?
Yeah, it should be interesting. There is a point to be made that Varian is new on for these teams,
and he's open. He's a thing.
He's a thing. I mean, do you think he'll be addressed at all? Because his win rate on quick match is insane, but on Hero League, not so much.
No, in Hero League, he's pretty middling. Like sitting around like the 48-49% win rate. So I'm not sure. I will say that, if you can get Varian to level 10, he becomes a force to be reckoned with on those long sustained fights. Braxis also, the fight is the points of contention on Braxis are in lane or very close to lanes. So you could see, maybe not a Fury build Varian, but you could see a tank or burst build Varian with some of the other level 7 talents, the big burst heal talent that he gets at 7, or with the shield talents that he gets at 7. I feel, however, if we see Varian, we're probably going to see him in the sustained DPS role. That seems to be, as far as the current mindset goes, that seems to be really what a lot of people are favoring for him. But both teams have readied up, and here we go. New Kids on the Block with the first pick and ban, and they banned Sylvanas.
They're going to force the mouth ban out of the...
potentially the mouth ban, or they might go for something a little more targeted. Like I said, Lunara was very favored by New Kids on the Block, as was Vala and Ariel. I think Muradin is just too important to even potentially leave on. He's almost too important to ban. Oh, we see Varian banned.
Okay, yeah, maybe they just don't want to play against, or they don't want to play with them. Varian's left to the quick match devices.
that 6 second stun, man.
Oh yeah. Or the taunt. I mean, honestly, in these kinds of well coordinated teams, I feel like that taunt is very powerful. 16-second cooldown, basically isolation on that hero. Granted, you can see your other teammates, but you don't have control over your own character. So yeah.
And Alarak is picked up by New Kids on the Block. So we talked about sort of where you have to spread your strengths on this map. You have to cover a lot of bases, and Alarak covers a lot of bases. He's got in-lane sustain. He's a solid solo laner. He's so frustrating to deal with when he's played appropriately and correctly, and you can bet your bottom dollar that with a first pick Alarak, New Kids on the Block feel very confident with that in their stable.
Yeah, they I would be very happy to see either of these teams go up against Brawls Deep. Brawls Deep has had their time in the sun for a very long time now.
Oh, man.
I want to see some upsets.
Them's fighting words. But we see Vala picked up by Resting Butcherface. We talked about how both teams prioritize Vala. We'll likely see Nitty on Vala, and Dahaka picked up as well by Resting Butcherface. They are looking... I mean, Dahaka can match Alarak. You have to worry about getting pushed and pulled around, but your straight up wave clear is superior to Alarak's, and Dahaka is such a pain to get off that top point. You load up Kids on the Block, denying that from Resting Butcherface, and I would almost like to see potentially maybe getting the support here and really putting the heat on, but Tychus is picked up, as we mentioned. So they're anticipating the two-tank. They're anticipating the two-tank composition and are reacting appropriately. This frees up Tychus from the...
And let's see here. Brightwing banned out. That's not a surprise. Brightwing is a very viable return counter to Alarak. I mean,
this is a great. I mean, well, I actually like Brightwing getting banned here by Resting Butcherface because it allows them to follow up with a support of their choosing. Ariel banned by New Kids on the Block. We talked about how these teams have comfort picks, and so far it's gone 50-50. Ariel's been banned out. Both teams really favoring that hero. Brightwing banned out, and right now the question is, what support does Resting Butcherface take away from New Kids here? And what support does New Kids pick up?
Yeah, sorry about that interruption. It's really odd that I think this is the first time we're disconnecting from Twitch. That's really frustrating.
This draft is just too awesome for one stream.
Yeah.
Gul'dan and Malfurion are picked up by Resting Butcherface, leaving. Let's see who's left. We've got Medic. Charism potentially for New Kids on the Block. But I feel like, with that last pick tank available, which could very likely be ETC for Resting Butcherface, they're in a really solid spot in this draft. And let's see how New Kids decides to compensate here.
Yeah. Thankfully, OBS has a nice little feature that actually holds the buffer, so I don't think there's a moment that the audience has lost, so thank goodness there. But enough about technicals. Who do you think their healer is going to be? Uther?
Morales.
Morales?
With the exception of Dahaka, there's not a whole lot of backline dive. I mean, Dahaka coming out of event is basically the closest thing they have to it. So if Morales can position appropriately, she's got, plenty of people to heal up. Muradin and Alarak can sort of manage on their own in the backline. We see Li Ming picked up by New Kids on the Block, and I really feel like that's signaling Morales to me.
Yeah, I'm thinking Uther might be a better option. Monk? Oh yeah, Monk has gotten a rework. Yeah,
Monk got reworked, but they might not be comfortable with the new Monk, if you understand what I mean. But I just feel like right now, pardon me, right now Resting Butcherface doesn't have a ton of tools for getting to Lieutenant Morales.
What?
A 0 support pick, or they ran out of time. I'm curious to see if that was unintentional. But Resting Butcherface got to be scratching their heads after that one.
They clicked Rhaegar. Okay.
They clicked Rhaegar. Okay, I was curious about that one. Rhaegar, I think Rhaegar works. I feel like Medic might suit them a little bit better, but I think they're worried about Alarak and Muradin getting nuked in the front line. And there's the ETC pick we mentioned for Resting Butcherface. Yeah. That was scary.
Yeah, running out of time. These you gotta give it at least a second. Clicking on the last second is just it's you run into these situations.
So both teams, trading off favorites. We see, Alarak making it through the first ban. So New Kids on the Block is going to have that solid top laner dueling with Dahaka. I feel like you give a small edge to Dahaka in terms of being able to stay on a single point. Pardon me, I'm going to be coughing just a little bit on the cast here, but if Dahaka gets beat up by Alarak, he can retreat, be home, top off
back in,
and global right back in, and Alarak has no such mechanism to stay in fights. And if Dahaka, if the bot lane is getting some interesting pressure, if they've got a good solid means of fighting or taking a fight, Dahaka can swing down there as well very quickly. Resting Butcherface wins on globals. I feel like they win on lane presence.
That interrupted my hype. I'm really frustrated. So, welcome, guys. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to
We're listening
game
still
one.
currently offline.
Yeah, it should be coming in shortly here.
All right. Okay. So let's assume this is working out okay, and we'll get the lineups going here. In the blue corner, playing for Team New Kids on the block, we've got Stubborn Mule on the Alarak, Static Kitty on Tychus, Tone Phone on Rhaegar, Ishbu on Muradin, and Shenmeister on the Li Ming. In the red corner, on the right-hand side, playing for Team Resting Butcherface, we got Siege Train on Dahaka, Niddy on Gul'dan, got Twami on ETC, Harry Augie on Malfurion, and Flat Out on Vala.
All right, and they go directly over to the opposite lanes, so we are going to see no esports, at least for the first 10 seconds here. It's going to be a little bit boring, but Alarak is already going up to top. They're definitely seeing that bottom is missing, so they might be suspecting a 5-stack. Stubborn Mule has to be very careful here. Notice, yeah, he's going to be extremely careful, and actually both teams are being pretty careful.
This is super cheeky. Twami shows, and the jig is up. Resting Butcherface exposing themselves in the top lane. As Dahaka goes down to bot lane, this is a massive inversion of the typical setup. I got it. It's a massive inversion of the typical setup where you see two solo laners going to the top lane and the 4 stacks butting heads in bot lane. And we do have a disconnect from Niddy, so we're going to wait on that. The internet just cannot seem to handle this game.
You want to unpause?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, just technical issues all around, That's how we play here. Don't do that. You're a jerk.
I'm not. I'm just saying. Not just.
Anyway, oh my gosh, Muradin getting dragged in and taking a lot of tower shots, but looks like
he's cracked at top. Stubborn Mule does fall at top lane, so that's nothing but freebie. Butcherface as they grind into this. What is this game we're watching, Sin?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like bottom fort walls are down. Bottom fort's taking half damage. Top fort's taking half damage and might actually go down here. Twami does gets hit by one stray shot, tower shot there, and actually he takes a death for that. But the name of this game is Value, and I think they're actually ahead on Value. What do you think, Resting Butcherface?
I think both teams are. All right, so both teams now pressuring their various walls. We've got Tychus in the top lane versus Dahaka. That's actually not a bad matchup for him. Able to put a lot of pressure on from long range. Just avoid that tongue. Don't get licked. And New Kids on the block able to get a bit of the beacon here before Harry Augie is in position to solve that. Roughly 40% for Kids on the block. And we're still... we're still looking for 10. We're still looking to equalize this game out here, as teams are still trading back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, these 4-on-4s. This is looking more like a normal Braxis in terms of the 4-on-4s, but they are just focusing each other down. I mean, there's very. Oh my gosh, and Twami gets taken down as well. But Siege Train, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, he's he burrowed into a 4-man right there. That's a little bit of a misplay right there, and they're gonna get punished by getting both beacons for a period of time. And this actually might be finally an objective taken.
Yeah, and this might settle things down a little bit. Static Kitty in the top lane getting poked at by Niddy, but not a whole lot of damage lands. Actually, I don't think any damage landed there.
Mm-hmm.
As with Ishbu holding the line in top lane, they are able to complete the Zerg wave. That's 100-0. And the three saddest Zerglings ever come out of the top lane for Resting Butcherface, as a monstrous, terrorizing, horrific, absolutely brutal Zerg swarm comes out at the bottom lane for New Kids on the Block.
So looking at bottom here, oh boy, there it is. That is quite horrific, and all hands are on deck except for Dahaka, you know, split pushing a little bit. I actually like this decision. They still have their keep walls, and
they need 10s.
And they need 10s, yeah.
They need Dahaka out there. We barely had time to talk about talents in the midst of all the craziness that's gone on. But in goes Alex, gets that charge, and almost gets a pick. Kwame dangerously low as Nidian flat out have to hustle back to survive. And New Kids on the Block pushing forward to claim a keep at the 8-minute mark with the first Zerg wave.
There's ults. Yeah, and
what is this game?
this game is ridiculous. They are not playing the objective really much. They're actually playing you know, get the advantage.
It's ring around the rosy. They're looking to see who can get kills when and where, and they're jungling aggressively. They're moving throughout the map aggressively. It's not the typical static, you know, 1 in top lane, 4 in bot lane that we see on this map. And, you know, we will just have to see how this plays out in the long run here. Both teams with level 10 now. We have ETC hiding that ult. He's going full Iacona here. You know, if we went by the meta, ETC would be picking up stage dive. But, I mean, let's look at the interrupts on New Kids on the Block. We have a Tychus Grenade, we have Alarak Silence, we have, that's it. I think that actually is it.
Yeah, Li Ming did not take Wave of Force.
Did not take Wave of Force, anticipating the stage dive. And, I mean, there's a cleanse from Rhaegar, but that's not saving your whole team if they end up in a mosh pit.
No. So there's a potential here for a mosh, absolutely.
And it ends up being stage dive, so okay. No super secret things from Kwame there, just the usual rigmarole, but nothing else too surprising. We see isolation coming out from Dahaka. Both teams have their multiple builds back now for the next team fight. Kwame looking for an invade, does not make it there in time. He's going to have to contend with that Bruiser camp at the top lane as Shenmeister puts some damage in. Stubborn Mule dives in, takes a heap of damage from Gul'dan. He goes to stage dive, takes static hitting, but no fail. Great Ancestral keeping Ishbu alive and hustles out there, but the first kills go to New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
Great orbs from Shenmeister taking down ETC and Vala.
Yeah, the Vala split for the team and distracted the rest of the team while they all escaped. And yeah, ETC going down early there. No stage dive used, right? Oh no, it was used.
Stage dive was used outside of that battle. It caught, I believe, Muradin and Tychus, but there was no room really for follow-up in that narrow area there.
Yeah, so I think the positioning was a little bit of a problem for Resting Butcherface on that fight, but they are all back. Muradin, I think, being the target, Muradin is so hard to kill nowadays, and especially with you know, with his Thunderclap having that auto attack reduction built in. That's so, yeah.
It's problematic. And healing static at 13, which they just now picked up, 13 feet even harder to kill. Ishbu getting kind of isolated here by the members of Resting Butcherface. No big deal. He hustles out. Nidhi is getting there on the Echoed Corruption quest. 27 of 40. As the Hopkins does have to duck the damage and hustles out with 4 hit points. Looks like Rhaegar wanted a piece but got a bit off the butt. As the members of Blue Team start falling here. 2 for 2 though, as another kill falls for New Kids on the Block. Li Ming going down. It's a bloodbath here as both teams trading kills left and right. It does end up being Resting Butcherface with the slight advantage, taking that fight a talent tier down, only just now getting up to the level 13 they need. Siege camps pushing their core. They've got Catapult pushing their core. And,
yeah, Nidhi actually has to go back to clear this this siege camp here, and ETC just barely grabbing bottom, but only getting 10% of the objective for that entire fight. That 2v1 at the very end, you know, the 3 for 4 win, only letting them 10% of the objective. So this is this is kind of scary for Resting Butcherface. They're a little bit on the back foot right now, and they got to do something.
Well, this is a good split right now. They've got Siege Train in the bot lane, ready to hustle up at a moment's notice if need be.
But Siege Train is too deep. He is in danger right now. It's a 5v1 right now, and that is a very bad death for Dahaka.
Oh, he could not evolve fast enough there, and the members of New Kids on the Block just absolutely deleted the Zerg.
Yeah, New Kids on the Block really setting the tone here and putting their stamp on stuff, tagging everything. So, yeah, hopefully that's the end of our technical issues. I think I figured out the problem that we had in case any of you streamers out there, the stream quality was set too high, actually.
It was set too high.
It was set too high.
So
Twitch
this match legitimately was too hype for one broadcast.
Clearly.
Okay, so while we're talking there, a great pull on the Murden does secure a kill there as Shenmeister has to hustle out. Stubborn Mule not long for this world in the bot lane here. He is brought down subsequently, so this has got great potential for Resting Butcherface to come back to this game. They equalize the levels. They have got something in bot lane here. The Zerg Wave is going to be pushing bot lane on this objective phase. They have got to be looking for that. Tone Phone dangerously low here with Kwame in position.
Yep, and
that
is Rhaegar down. That is 2 down for New Kids on the Block. They're actually a little bit down at this point. They're gonna finally get some. Sorry, Resting Butcherface is finally putting themselves on the map a little bit, getting this forward Merc camp here, and they're gonna try to push their advantage just slightly here. They're almost to 16s, and that has potential for a push here.
That's a significant advantage, and we do see Gul'dan still dangerously close on Echo Corruption. 31 of 40 on that talent here, almost there, and it is a 150 Zerg Wave, but Malfurion is picked off by Stubborn Mule and Shenmeister, and that is an absolute dagger in the heart of the push.
Yeah, but the focus on Murden there is actually...
Oh, denied. Murden hopping out of there. He's got Mad Hops. Speaking of Mad Hops, ETC with the Matter Hops jumps into another area code entirely as Twami jumps into the top lane to escape that gank attempt with 4 members of on the block.
Yeah, wow, what a turnaround. This game has been already back and forth so many times now, and between the DCs, you don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't even know what's going on, and I was here for the whole game. So the Zerg Wave and bot cleaned up very efficiently by New Kids on the Block. That advantage that Resting Butcherface had accumulated is starting to dissipate as Siege Train target groups to take the camp in the right side. Both members of Resting Butcherface, they've split into 2 groups to take their camps, whereas New Kids on the Block, they are bush meta-ing the crap out of it.
Oh! You don't even know what went on there, but it looks like Resting Butcherface so far is suffering a lot from that bush meta. That was 4 down for nothing. This is game-ending potential right here. They are
the game. That's the end of the game.
Yeah.
And just absolutely obliterated by silence, control, and stuff.
You're cutting out.
And
we'll just blame it on your cough there. Yeah, this is the end of the game. So, first game goes to New Kids on the Block, making their mark known here, and thank goodness our Twitch stream stopped being.
It was just too hyphy.
Yeah.
It was just too hyphy. It just could not handle the hype that could be contained in this matchup. So, New Kids on the Block taking the first map. They are one step away from the Chair League Pro Division Finals, and Resting Butcherface, you gotta feel crappy about that one. You had the game. You were in a good spot. You had finally started to generate some momentum there, and your Zerg wave gets cleaned up, and your team gets absolutely annihilated with a bush ambush. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Great patience from New Kids to set that up and execute it with the skill and accuracy that they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gul'dan, MVP of that game. What do you think?
I mean, he really carried the damage for Resting Butcherface, but I honestly feel like Stubborn Mule on the Alarak, as well as Ishbu, were absolutely critical to the success on New Kids on the Block.
That's true.
Their lockdown secured so many kills for their team. I think their contributions cannot be overstated enough.
That's true. Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes you can get MVP if you're on the opposite team, right? The non-winning team. But no, I feel like there wasn't necessarily a comp issue. Would you agree there? Like, I think both teams were.
It was an even matchup. The compositions met each other fairly well. I think a lot of it just came down to overall strategy and shot calling. That early game was so roughshod. It was so hard to make heads or tails of anything in that early game. And, just losing it on a late game bush, a bush strat is very frustrating. And it's something that now, Malf is going to be moonfiring every single vent from here on out for the rest of their hero's career.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the checks, man. You got to check. You got to assume every single bush has a team sitting there waiting for you, and yeah, that turned the game. I mean, they were pretty even up until that point, minus the keep that New Kids on the Block had taken. But yeah, that bush meta paid off this time, and it was.
I'd have to check. If it happened at the very end, but I don't think Gul'dan hit Echoed Corruption in that match, which I think is critical for improving his damage numbers and improving his wave clear as well. So I it's frustrating. Did Niddy accomplish enough on that Gul'dan to justify the pick? The damage numbers were good, but when a quest doesn't get completed, it's kind of a void. You have to sit back and wonder, why did I pick this quest? And could I have gotten benefits elsewhere in less amount of time? Now that's the talent to pick at level 1 for Gul'dan, hands down. But you've got to finish that. You've got to finish it quick because the benefit it provides your team is absolutely insurmountable.
Yeah. Whew. Well,
at least we don't have to worry about the stream shutting down again.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. It was, ladies and gents, that was a mistake on my part. I did not put enough testing in to the upgraded stream quality. So, lesson learned. Like
we said, it is actually too hype for one broadcast. We needed 5. So we'll have to see what the next map ends up being. But
the next map is Tomb of the Spider Queen. We had New Kids on the Block here pick up that. They had the map pick, and
so the rules are going to be reversed. Resting Butcherface is going to be the home team for the sake of the draft, and they are going to be having the first pick and the first ban on this map. And the same questions that we asked in the first match have to be asked here. Where are the comfort picks going to go? Both teams favored Lunara in the past. Both teams favored Vala, favored Ariel, favored Muradin. Does Resting Butcherface lay claim to Muradin now and deprive New Kids on the Block of that comfort pick? Ishbu has now played Muradin 3 games in a row in Chair League, and this could potentially be the 4th game for Ishbu. And Ishbu has been absolutely cracking skulls on that hero, just laying people out left and right. And like we said, pairing that with Stubborn Mule on the on the Alarak was absolutely brutal. They were getting tons of just loaded Discord strikes, hitting 2-3 heroes at a time. with all that focus and attention put on the Muradin.
Yeah, single tank actually still worked for this particular setup. Do you think having a second tank would have been any pro or con?
I think Alarak made up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's not a tank per se, but he fulfilled that single lane bruiser role that Dahaka was filling ever so briefly for resting Butcherface. Now, this only makes me wonder what is going to happen in this map to upend our normal perception of the meta. So yeah, we'll just have to see.
Yeah,
probably be another race to see who gets the first fort down. One team going to top and one team going to bottom again.
Well, it was crazy. I mean, that last map, we didn't really have a lot of time to review the stats there, but yeah, there were a lot of kills. It was 20-11. Normally we see single digits, maybe double digits kills, but that's
pretty wild. 20 kills in a pro div game is actually unreal.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you the last time I've heard of like
on
that.
On Braxis. I don't know. That was a lot. I mean, and they were so even too. That's the thing that got me was how even they were. In addition to, rotating, ganking. I mean, all of the above. Just they were extremely even, and if not for that last gank there, this game could have gone on for another 5 minutes easily.
That was crushing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that had to be just absolutely demoralizing for resting Butcherface.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you bounce back from that? Like, that was an even game. You're feeling good about it. You're feeling like, okay, we got the camps. The Zerg wave pushed out our lane. We've got some security here. We're feeling safe, and you're all dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. Yeah, they got the Merc camp, and the Merc camp was pushing all along there, but it was just too late, and
they were just too dead.
All right, so we're gonna get ourselves a draft here momentarily. Again, this is Tomb of the Spider Queen for Game 2. I'm gonna go ahead and transition us over here. And Super Jova has instructed us to look for bugs, so we're gonna
we pushed some things and fixed some things. now I gotta sit up in my chair and pay attention. I was paying attention before, I swear. So we haven't talked too much about this map or this potential draft coming up upon us here, since too much. We saw some of the usual suspects, but we saw, Alarak getting played in the last match. If you're resting Butcherface, do you ban out that Alarak?
On this map? I don't know. I mean, Sylvanas is really good on this map as well, and that was their first ban. Mm-hmm. I think a respect ban would be probably smart.
I feel like maybe putting the respect ban out and grabbing Muradin for yourself helps kind of defang the real brunt from New Kids on the Block, because the Alarak, Leeming did a ton of the damage, but the setup came from Alarak and Muradin in that game. Mm-hmm. And I want to see how Resting Butcherface reacts here. I want to see what their pick ends up being.
Yeah. This should be interesting. So they're going to ban out Varian again. They don't want to play with him. He's not welcome in this club.
Nope, not allowed.
So, I mean, I'm kind of disappointed. I kind of wanted to see some new Varian play, but I suppose he's not quite developed yet. With talent picks just being so varied, even with the changes from Wednesday, when he came out with the taunt change, people played him on the PTR thinking, taunt's never going to get picked, and then suddenly taunt gets buffed. So I can understand that. But do you think we're going to see Sylvanas banned here, or or do you think we're going to see?
I have not seen
support ban.
I have not seen either team pick Sylvanas, but that might just be because of the maps that I got a chance to watch them on. I think we see the ETC ban. So
Ooh.
that's an
Ooh.
interesting, almost self-imposed choke by New Kids on the Block. That being said, we'll have to see. I feel like Resting Butcherface, the expected move here is for them to jump on Muradin. But that gives New Kids on the Block so many options in the follow-up rounds. So they go with the Zul. New Kids on the Block, are they going to grab the Muradin here? Zul is good on this map. That's absolutely, excuse me, absolutely undeniable. I just feel like giving New Kids on the Block Muradin is a mistake, especially when you have someone who can play Muradin on your team. I mean, Twami had played Muradin in the previous week's games, so we do know that they're comfortable on that hero. Meanwhile, like I said, Ishbu has played that hero 3 maps in a row and has not dropped a single map. We see Vala picked up by New Kids on the Block, and I would not be shocked to see Muradin here.
Yeah, early Muradin pickup is good, especially if you're very comfortable on him. He's so strong as a solo tank, and he actually he can
thinking about this.
Yeah,
they're thinking about this a little longer than I'd expect. I don't think they're going with the Muradin. Do they go for a support this early? Do they pick the Ariel out this early?
Well, you know that Resting Butcherface may have a chance to pick out a support. Oh, and we're running really low on time here for New Kids on the Block. They're really planning out their comp.
They got to hustle. They got to hustle, and they go with the Muradin. Okay.
All right.
But I mean, we talked about it. We hyped it up. We said it might be coming, and it ended up. After much aplomb and drama and what could it possibly be? It ended up being Muradin. So, Go figure.
You know what? Somebody that we haven't seen addressed, that we would have seen addressed every single game in the last week? Samuro.
That's kind of funny that he's a thing and nobody cares.
So now that I've said it,
Johanna picked up by Resting Butcherface. Now, as I mentioned, Twami did play Johanna last week, so we know Twami is okay with this hero. And Johanna's not bad on this map. You've got that nice grouping. You've got the extra damage against minions. Pairing her with Zul gives you that Diablo synergy. You clear out the minions. You get the loot. You get that fat orange legendary. You run it home to Deckard Cain. You get the ID, and then you trash it because it's a garbage legendary.
Yeah.
But we got the triple Diablo synergy from Resting Butcherface. They are going all in on Diablo with Li Ming as well. The synergy from the Condemn pulls and the Zul roots are going to be big. It's going to be big time here for Li Ming to follow up with that damage. And Malfurion.
Here's a question for you. Sorry.
Sure.
Do you think we're going to see Butcher? That would make it like a Diablo.
Oh man.
Diablo theme. that synergy, man. I want to see Resting Butcherface pick Diablo here, or not Diablo. Butcher.
Butcher.
Yeah.
I
or
don't
Diablo.
think so. I don't think so. We see Tassadar picked off by Resting Butcherface. This is actually, I think, it's a good idea. New Kids on the Block has shown they're willing to play more eccentric Tracer comps with Tassadar. So I think that makes perfect sense to me. Tassadar also really good on this map for enabling long-range poke, interrupting those turn-ins. And and Alarak is picked up by New Kids on the Block. We talked about Alarak. Likely going to be Stubborn Mule on that yet again, as New Type foolishly silences his phone. But we'll have to see. There's the frontliners are set for New Kids on the Block. I would like, we'll have to see where they go with their last pick. But Resting Butcherface, they're out a support still. Malfurion his banned. Brightwing might be an option here. It certainly would help against Alarak. And I feel like Brightwing is on the table, and potentially Rhaegar's on the table. Yep, there we go. Rhaegar is on the Rhaegar is picked up by Resting Butcherface. They want that ancestral heal, and they're darn it, they're going to get it. But the question is, who's their last pick here?
It's going to either be a warrior or an assassin. If they go two warriors, that I would want to see like Diablo or another Dahaka play, just as an attempt. Dahaka has some possibilities against like Ario, against Alarak, but I don't know. Maybe even a Thrall pick. No, actually they have Zul. Never mind. So what do you think? Assassin or Warrior?
This is a toughie.
Had they not banned out Varian, I would have said Varian.
Yeah, this would have been good spot for Varian. But no dice there. It's got to be someone like they beat me to it. I was gonna say it's got to be someone who is not going to be operating with Zul, who operates with Li Ming, Johanna, and Rhaegar, and can manage that 4-man effectively. And so Lunara fits in. We talked about Lunara being a favorite on this team.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. Zul is typically with the 4-man group, rotating up and down. By the way, the time has reset. I'm not sure if that was just a bug in the system. But yeah, there's
Sylvanas picked last, which is a shocker to Hero League drafts everywhere.
Yeah.
Sylvanas last picked on Tomb of the Spider Queen. The world is officially upside down. Cats and dogs living together. All that craziness.
More importantly,
ask Bill Murray.
More importantly, this is even in terms of the healer, assassin, warrior balance. I mean, we're seeing
two assassins on each team, one specialist, one warrior, one support. It's
although Sylvanas is technically a specialist.
Yeah.
But she fills a especially in the team fights, she's able to fill a bit of a assassin role, especially with her silence. And with Malfurion banned out, you just they actually may have, besides banning out Malfurion because he's good, wanted to keep themselves from being silenced, because that seems to be the name of the game these days. Alarak is silence, Sylvanas is silence.
Alarak is when you've got problem heroes on the enemy team, you call Alarak.
You call Rich.
He solves your problems good, but excuse me, but I have to question the wisdom in letting Ishbu on that Muradin. The Ishbu has been absolutely devastating on that Muradin. They have just not made mistakes with that hero, and they got him again. So we'll have to see how this pans out. Excuse me. So,
Resting Butcherface. Yeah, Resting Butcherface did get first pick, so they wanted Zul first. I don't know if that was... maybe they wanted DTC first and he got banned out? I don't know. Do you think...
I wonder if we're going to see almost a Blackheart's Bay situation, where you have a 4-man group just absolutely cave in a lane and have Zul rotate between the other 2 lanes for dual soak. As you often see on Blackheart's Bay, where you have one individual Zul in top 2 lanes and the other 4 in the bottom. So let's get this party started here in the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, playing for team New Kids on the Block. We've got Stubborn Mule on the Alarak. We've got Static Kitty on Sylvanas, Shenmeister on Vala, Tone Phone on the Ariel, and Ishbu, ever so deadly, on that Muradin. And in the red trunks here, on the right-hand side, playing for Team Resting Butcherface, we've got Siege Train on the Zul, Harry Augie on Rhaegar, Tawami on Johanna, Niddy on Li Ming, and Flat Out on Lunara.
All right, and no esports. They're gonna push out with their they're gonna body their wave there, and they are checking they're checking the smoke.
Are these the same 2 teams that played on Brax's holdout?
Yeah, I can't tell.
Big damage going in. Shenmeister getting a great multi-shot off, hitting all the members of the team. But Lunara was picked off instead by Stubborn Mule, getting a great grab and silence, and the follow-up from New Kids on the Block was devastating. Nice early kickoff there for a New Kids on the Block, forcing sort of a suboptimal rotation from Resting Butcherface.
Yeah, usually you're 4-1 at this point, and we're gonna have Zul here. In the 4, this is much more traditional in terms of the rotations, with Zul, being the sole. Oh, jeez, the person that you wait for to clear the lane because of his excellent wave clear. And And this is a bit of a deviation in terms of just the rotations. They're just trying to push really, really hard here. And I think that's in part because of Sylvanas. Sylvanas allowing them to disable the towers and just get a lot more damage in than usual.
Absolutely great containment strike from Tone Phone, keeping Kwame preoccupied, but not for too long as the follow-up just goes careening in. Tone Phone saved at the last second by Shenmeister, actually eating some shots from Li Ming to keep him alive. But that opening detainment strike made that engagement, saved that engagement for New Kids on the block.
Yeah, and Twami has to go back a lot. A lot of damage dropped on Johanna.
I love this. If we can direct your attention to the bot lane, look at this zoning from Stubborn Mule, denying so much XP from Flatout. Completely incapable of doing anything in the bot lane. Not killing the minions, letting them, work things out themselves. And that actually denied almost a whole half level of XP from Flatout. If we look at the, and shredded in the bot lane.
Yeah, Lunara should not be laning against Alarak. I don't think that's a good choice. But they are trying to make this work here.
Yeah, what choice do you have? Who beats Alarak in a solo lane? Nidhi coming down.
I guess Rhaegar.
Yeah, Nidhi coming down. I mean, even Rhaegar, you're going to get pulled around. You're going to get chunked. And that E, that frustrating lightning surge, is got a really long range now.
Yeah, so maybe Johanna. But Johanna is really needed up here in the front line. Not a lot of HP left on the other members of the team.
To compare the XP contributions, Alarak is sitting at 2,300 XP just from that bot lane soak. Lunara is sitting at 600. We're talking about 4 times as much XP soaked by Alarak because of that bot lane zoning.
Yeah, that's very impressive. And turn-ins are starting in here. Looks like New Kids on the Block actually have a full turn-in ready to go. So they're going to try to get that dropped into the requisite turn-in points here. Twami's trying to do something here, zoning for the other team, but the control from Ariel is just insane. Every single time she's trying to do her job, she gets stunned. So
Iron Skin's popped. It looks like Twami's gonna hustle out here as Shenmeister completes her turn-in. And, nice little rumble in middle. Twami taking a little boop from Tone Phone.
Oh, and Stubborn Mule. A little bit of a collapse on Stubborn Mule.
Oh my goodness, Stubborn Mule so dangerously close. They've got to try and find a way to put him down now.
Oh.
Poisoned, and is he going to go down? Does he have a tap? He does.
He does have a tap.
Stubborn Mule barely making it out at the last second here. It's a big heal and manages to contribute even to the kill on Zulu. That could have turned the whole early game there. Those 20 gems were taken off the Stubborn Mule. He gets pulled, gets stunned, gets whipped by Tone Phone. Whipping it good, but not great. Nidhi does manage to survive and walk away.
Yeah, and Stubborn's...
Yeah, he's getting his turn in. This is going to be the first, I believe, it's in the game. 4 kids on.
Yeah. And Static Kitty is doing a great job as Sylvanas, really taking advantage of her special ability in this particular map. Sylvanas has always been great on this map, and this is not denying... This is not showing anything different. So Ishbu doing a great job of just being in between the rest of the team and his team. The enemy team and the rest of his team.
Yeah, Ishbu is putting on a clinic this playoffs on how to play third. Do not let this person, future seasons, whatever. Do not let this person play Muradin. It's too scary. Pushing Twami, Nidhi, and Perry Augie out of the top lane, securing that top board.
And Stubborn Mule on Alarak has been insane, taking down Lunara probably 2 times now.
2 straight one-on-one kills that I've been there to witness, and the XP gap is getting even crazier. Alarak with 5,500 versus Lunara's 2,000. Stubborn Mule. Just leading the charge on XP right now. Taking a big heap of damage there, though, but does get 10 in time. Pops that counter strike to survive, and that was a immediate on the spot popping of that ult as Wrestling Butcherface has got to start retreating. They do not have ultimate abilities yet. They are not ready for this fight. Swami is isolated. 25 gems on the line as Genmeister and Stubborn Mule give chase. Harry Augie also in position to kill, though, so Swami is going to survive there.
Yeah, one thing that I just realized, sorry, I just realized it, which is kind of silly. Johanna's Iron Skin actually stops Stubborn Mule from pulling her around. She should be the one laning against him. However, you know, the rest of the team is so soft that they really need some HP on the front line.
Can't give up your tank. No. I think it's unfortunate, but I think Lunara just has to play more defensively. But as we saw, you know, Stubborn Mule able to sniff that out as soon as it happens and physically body the Lunara out of the lane to such an extent that she can't even get the XP from, you know, the distance soaking.
Yeah. You know, watching Ishbu play Muradin, it's actually reminding me of Noblesse's Muradin play with the warding, you know, standing really far from the rest of his team and just doing a great job of just being in the midst of the enemy team and being able to zone, to ward, and he's doing a great job. I really have to say.
Siege Train caught out at top lane here. Level 10 barely in hand for Resting Butcherface. They just now get it all snapped up quickly. We see Disintegrate, Ancestral Healing, Blessed Shield. Zul not picked yet, nor has Lunara. I'd almost say, you know, Leaping Strike might be an option for Lunara, what with the amount that she's getting pulled around by this Alarak.
Yeah, so it looks like Mages taken for Zul there. That's smart. Mages makes it less suicidal for you to use your ult.
Oh, Static Kitty. Dodging that root, showing off the skill with Sylvanas there. Using that Haunting Wave ability to completely negate the
yeah, and Mages actually cleared those four mages. Actually completely cleared via shots from the enemy team. They did nothing. That was very inconsequential for Zul. Like, sorry, for the other team. It was for New Kids on the Block. They saw those mages, then they said, you know what, that doesn't affect us any.
Oh, and Swami in a very frustrating situation now. The bank for Resting Butcherface holding 30 gems, but unable to really find any space to turn them in as the you know, you're required as the tank to be that zoning force, to be that interdictor, that interceptor, and you just can't do that for your team if you're the one on the point turning in those gems. So, you know, Resting Butcherface, a reprieve indeed, does manage to stave off the onslaught in mid lane, while New Kids on the Black moves to bot lane to continue their push there. Ishbu waiting in the smoke there.
Yeah, like I said, very Noblesque-like. Unafraid of a four-man, sorry.
Oh, the wonderful Wailing Arrow catches a big heap of people as Harry Augie has to burn Ancestron flat out. Static Kitty in deep, but does have Windrunner to escape, but not for long. Does get brought down. It's a bloodbath, 3 for 1 though. New Kids on the Block does manage to take the edge in that fight, and there's nothing going to happen this bot lane deep. That is a huge amount of gems lost for Resting Butcherface. Down to just 21 gems on Harry Augie.
Well, and I'd like to point something out. Resting Butcherface has not turned in a single gem. That's kind of insane. They have New Kids on the Block has bodied them to the point where they have not been able to turn in one single gem. That is that's a scary spot to be in right now. It's
I'm just gonna say it right now. The zoning factor from Ishbu and Stubborn Mule is absolutely unreal. They have the squishies of Resting Butcherface absolutely shaking in their boots. Those two heroes have been devastating on this map, and with Vala on cleanup duty, securing those kills, you know, it's been so terrifying trying to get any sort of position up there.
Yeah. So Resting Butcherface was checking boss there because they didn't really see the other members of New Kids on the Block, and that was a smart check. Just a quick little check in, and actually, Stubborn Mule made them spend a little extra time there, and they're actually positioning. They might Do you think they're going to go for boss here, or do you think they're just?
I mean, they hit it. They're showing for it. Kwame sniffs it out. They catch Hariyagi, though. Hariyagi is gone. Kwame, not long this world either, does manage to sneak out, but is brought down by Static Kitty and Stubborn Mule. And it is a rout for Resting Butcherface. Disaster. They're blown up 4 for nothing. As Nitty is just looking for any out. Too many options there. It's giving chase.
And Ishbu is one-on-oneing Li Ming. I don't think I've seen this before. Oh my gosh. Oh, and he's successful. Holy crap. And so Keep is taken from by New Kids on the Block as a result of that team wipe. And
hot for core, but the death timers are just too short. There's no way they're going to be able to take it. But they do have a very aggressive boss opportunity here. And they're not even being subtle about it. They just go right up into that smoke. And the question now that you have to ask is, are we about to see the ambush, about to happen for Resting Butcherface?
I don't know. It looks like Resting Butcherface is not responding. They're not rotating up to boss. I mean, it was pretty clear. Maybe they figured they can't contest it.
They're 3 levels behind. You'd need an absolute miracle of a team fight to pull through.
Oh no, Twami!
Look for it. It's a miracle.
They're looking for a miracle here, and a lot of damage dropped on Resting Butcher. On New Kids on the Block, and 20 health. 20 health coming out of Lunara. Lunara survives, but the rest of the team is not as lucky with Nitty here bringing up the rear, and that is a 4 for nothing coming out of New Kids on the Block. That's what happens when you have a 3-level deficit. And it wasn't exactly an ambush. It was a. It was
that close.
Yeah.
That close. Like one more level. Resting Butcherface. The percentages, the scaling, everything goes up just enough to secure them that team fight. As you know, red team loses all their. Just coming back up, and that is the end of the game. GG. New Kids on the Block is absolutely carving up the neighborhood. They're looking to expand, and they are moving on to the Chair League Grand Finals.
Yeah, so we should be seeing New Kids on the Block against an old favorite, Brawls Deep, next tomorrow. That should be very exciting.
Getting dethroned tomorrow, buddy.
Oh man.
New Kids on the Block have not lost a map yet in Chair League's Pro Div, and New Kids on the Block are the perennial. They're the dudes. I don't know how else to describe it. The perennial winners. They've dominated every season that they've been in. They have just absolutely crushed competition and have made their way to the finals. And what are we doing? What happens next? Tune in tomorrow, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's talk just a brief little bit about this.
Oh my God, I barely had any time to talk about talents or anything.
Yeah, there was nothing. It was a constant. Like I said, Resting Butcherface just didn't even have a chance to turn in any coins. They were so bodied on this map. Between Alarak, between Ishbu. And even Static Kitty and Sylvanas just making...
Brawls Deep, if you're watching this broadcast, do not let Ishbu have Muradin.
Take him away.
Do not let Ishbu have Muradin.
Let him take Varian. Yeah, let them take Varian instead of Muradin. There you go. If you're... That's the advice we have for Brawls Deep there.
That is the one single cut the stream again.
Oh jeez.
That is the one.
Oh. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose.
But we cut off at optimal moments for the sake of suspense and losing viewers. we're a big fan of that stuff here.
Oh, jeez,
but
it's so frustrating. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. I'll have to test out something like a random stream or something.
I have not seen this happen before to us. It was kind of shocking. So, as far as like talents were concerned, there weren't a whole lot of shockers. Really standard stuff from a lot of the teams. Alarak went with the Psychokinesis at 13, which is kind of, I wouldn't say it's unusual, but it's not what you see in the cookie cutter Alaraks, increasing that telekinesis damage. But we saw Wrath of Heaven, improving that Alarak, Vala, and Sylvanas damage from Ariel. Really cognizant of where you needed to be, who needed to be hatted, who was doing the damage on the team, and optimizing the damage for those heals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's talk about Muradin real quick here. This build, I think, is pretty much the perennial build for Muradin.
This is a hybrid to me.
Oh, actually, yeah. Besides Give Him the Axe, Give Him the Axe is separate, right?
This is a hybrid to me. This is a little bit of old school, like 1 month, 2 months ago at Muradin, and a little bit of this new school Skullcracker Muradin that you're seeing come out with the changes to Ironforge Momentum. I mean, Thunderburn and Healing Static are phenomenal, and they've been phenomenal for like months now.
I think the playstyle that Muradin, that Ishbu and such pros as Noblesse and other great Muradin players have shown is this hybrid. The best defense is a good offense tank. I think that's how he's sort of just watching these games, how he's best approached in terms of a good solo Muradin is usually out there in the middle of everything and is able to somehow and you know what, that is something about these players, is that recognizing when to return, when to call the rest of the team back and say, you know what, I can't defend you guys anymore, I'm going to jump out, and also even jumping back in. I mean, sometimes these players are able to take the third wind healing for a couple seconds and then just jump right back in, and it's really impressive to see. And if you want to get good at playing Muradin, I would watch these players and how they handle these engagements, how they ward
from resting Butcherface there.
Yeah, so all right. You know what? I'm not gonna chance the Twitch gods any further here, and I'm gonna go ahead and call this a night here. Ending the season on a great set of games, but a crappy Twitch stream here.
Oh, our production. We have the best production here, folks.
Oh, jeez. Alrighty. If you liked what you saw, what bits of it you saw, don't forget to follow me on twitch.tv/synthparadox. I'm on Twitter as well, synthparadox. You can follow New Type on both Twitch and Twitter.
And it's New Type 2K6. You'll see me around, I suppose.
All right, folks. With that, we're bringing Season 3, our casting of Season 3 to a close. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the finals of the playoffs.
Our wonderful colleagues will be casting those games tomorrow for all 4 of the divisions, from the Pro Div all the way down to Division 3. Should be interesting games. Should be fun games. And if you're like me and you're a night owl, our fellow Chair League caster, Cavalier Guest, is going to be casting the Chinese Gold League in the wee hours of the morning. I believe it's like 1 a.m. Pacific that it's ends up being. But I don't sleep. I just drink scotch and think about things. So feel free to drop by his stream and keep us all company tonight for that cast if you feel so inclined.
that squeak though.
The very last. So we're gonna have one last drink, pouring it out to fallen homies, and like we said, we enjoy casting these games. We enjoy drinking during these games. Let's be real here, and we wish these teams the best of luck going forward. Best of luck to you, new kids on the block. we'll be watching tomorrow to see how you do. And Resting Butcherface, we'll see you guys next season, and we wish you the very best going forward.
Absolutely. Cheers, y'all.